A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a powerful display of solidarity, thousands of trans rights activists gathered in central London and Edinburgh on Saturday, responding to a contentious ruling by the UK Supreme Court that has ignited fierce debate over the definition of a woman. The court's decision, which asserts that a woman is defined as someone born biologically female, has raised significant concerns among transgender communities and their allies. Protesters converged at Parliament Square in London for what was termed an emergency demonstration, voicing their demands for trans liberation and trans rights now. Many waved flags and held banners emblazoned with slogans like "No feminism without trans women" and "Biology is not binary." The ruling has left many feeling anxious and uncertain about the future of trans rights in the UK. Despite the Supreme Court's clarification that transgender individuals are still protected from discrimination, activists fear that this decision could lead to further restrictions on their rights. Sophie Gibbs, a 19-year-old transgender woman, expressed her dismay, stating, "It's a terrifying time to have your rights taken away from you. I was disappointed to think that we could live in a society that seems so progressive now, but is willing to make such a dangerous and harmful ruling." The ruling has significant implications for single-sex spaces, including access to public toilets, hospital wards, and sports teams. The head of the Equality and Human Rights Commission indicated that transgender women could be excluded from these spaces if deemed proportionate. This has raised alarm among trans activists, who worry that it opens the door to broader discrimination. Scotland's First Minister John Swinney acknowledged the pain felt by the trans community following the ruling, but emphasized the need to comply with the court's decision. He stated, "The first thing that is important is that we all have to accept the rule of law." Activists at the protest voiced their fears that this ruling could be a precursor to further legal challenges that may erode the rights of transgender individuals. Zuliha Ashidi, a 29-year-old protester, warned, "It's a Pandora's box situation where I just think we allow certain things and then we essentially opened up the door to allow way more than we ever thought could be accepted or pushed through." The protests were not limited to London. Demonstrators also filled Glasgow's George Square and the foot of the Mound in Edinburgh, all voicing a united front against the Supreme Court's decision. The Scottish government, which previously supported the inclusion of transgender women in sex-based protections, now faces the challenge of navigating the legal landscape following the ruling. Susan Smith, co-director of For Women Scotland, a group that brought the case to the Supreme Court, called for an apology from the Scottish government for how they have handled the situation. She stated, "There needs to be an acceptance on the part of the Scottish government that much of what they did was completely wrong." As the protests unfolded, the Metropolitan Police reported that they were investigating damage to several statues at Parliament Square that had been vandalized during the demonstration. The protests highlight a growing divide in society over the rights of transgender individuals, with many fearing that the Supreme Court's ruling could embolden those who oppose trans rights. Activists are determined to continue their fight for equality, insisting that trans rights are human rights. As the situation evolves, the implications of the Supreme Court's decision will undoubtedly resonate across various sectors, including healthcare, education, and public services, leaving many to wonder what the future holds for the trans community in the UK. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.